Hello, this is a short video showing you how materials can be bought for stock by one unit measure, such as a roll or a drum, but then costed and issued to a contract by the linear meter. Certain materials are bought by the roll or drum, such as edging or cabling. However, if they're purchased for stock, you might not necessarily use the whole roll or drum on an item or contract. So the item needs to be issued to a contract by the linear meter. This will also be true when using the material on an item in a quotation. Now, having said this, we also need to keep a correct quantity of how much is left on the roll or drum in the stores, and this quantity will also be used in any stock valuation audits. So how do we do this? Firstly, the item in the library must be set up correctly with the unit quantity, having the total meterage of the item per roll or drum. The roll or drum cost is set in the usual way for the various suppliers and the required estimating cost. The estimating cost is calculated using the item cost divided by the quantity in the unit. The next and most crucial thing is to set the stock item cost to be divided by the quantity in unit. This will then ensure that when the edging or roll is used in an item, the quantity and cost per linear meter are used rather than the cost for the roll or drum. Okay, so we've now correctly set the item in the library and are good to go. When using the item in a quotation, you'll see that the quotation net cost is used here, along with entering the required linear meterage here. And when entering a new purchase order for the item, the supplier roll or drum cost is used, along with the required quantity to give a purchase value. Looking at the material in the library, we can now see that the 2 rolls have been ordered and when they're due to be delivered. Note that the quantity at the moment available is set to 0. Once the item is received, following the entry of a goods received note, we'll see that this will show a quantity of 100, i.e. 2 rolls at 50 meters. So on entering a goods received note, we then indicate the quantity of rolls or drums received, and this will then be added into the stock. So following the receipt of the item into stock, we can now see that the quantity available is set to 100, with an audit stock value of £72. Now, although the purchase order was for a value of £71.50, we have to divide this by the length of all the rolls received. So there's a slight rounding up of £71.50 divided by 100 meters is 71.5 pence. So this ends up being rounded to 72 pence per meter. And this is a cost that will be booked into contracts. So when issuing the item into a contract or contract's bill item, we enter the required material and the linear meters of material issued. Now once issued, the stock will be depleted as required and the costs added to the contract. And you can now see that the stock has been reduced by the linear meters issued to the contract, along with the stock valuation being adjusted accordingly. We also have the facility to get details on how much of the material was issued and to which contracts and which specific item of the contract. Now, looking at an item cost in detail, we can also see that the edging was issued from stores along with the cost and the amount used. So that's the basics of how to set an item to be controlled and costed by the linear meter from a roll or drum. Now we'll go on to see this in a live environment, and I'll also use this opportunity to show you how to duplicate an existing item to a new item. Right, so first of all I'm going to create a new edging item from an existing one. So I go to my menu, go to Materials and Library and amend Item Library, enter the code of the item that I want to make a copy of. So I've loaded up the beach edging here, so I want to make a copy, duplicate to a new code. System will then make an exact copy, but it will remove any of the existing stock details attributed to the one I've just duplicated from, and it will add the word dupe to the item code and dupe to the description. So I just need to change the item code to suit this new item. So this is going to be a Sapele edging, so I'll just amend the description to suit. Change any supplier codes for this particular item along with any costs, so this might be $36.75 for whatever reason, and Latham's might have a different code. Let's say they're going to charge us £48 a roll. So I then have my estimating costs, so I might decide to increase that to £41 a roll, and that's then dividing 41 by the 50 metres in a roll to give me 82 pence. So if I was to increase that quantity in the roll to 100, we will then see this system calculating at 41 pence per linear metre. So I'll just put that back to 50. And as you can see at the moment, we have no quantity available because we haven't actually got any in stock until we do a purchase order and a goods received for that. So before I move on, I'm just going to print myself a scanning code for this to save me having to type in the product reference every time. So I'll just make that slightly larger on screen so that the scanner can read it, and just move that out of the way for now, and then save this item. So now I will generate a purchase order for that. So we go to our menu, production, purchase orders, create new purchase order, and we'll click a standard. Supplier, we'll just use MDF direct, delivered to HQ, requested by, date required, let's say we want it tomorrow. We can either import our terms from a standard listing, or if I load a stock item in with our stock code of 1001 on this demonstration, it will automatically load a stock purchase orders to save me having to type that. Enter the item code, so I'm just going to scan the item. So it's loaded in the estimated library cost, and now it's linked the supplier cost to the supplier that I'm using. So let's say we want to order 2 rolls of that. It shows me the saving achieved. But more importantly, as far as the supplier is concerned, I'm ordering 2 rolls at the roll price. I'll just make a note of this purchase order 377. So we issue the purchase order. Won't bother printing it out for this demonstration. So now if we have a quick look at our stock, now rather than going through the menu system, going to materials and labour, amend or view, we can use, if we're on the stores dashboard, the view material stock. Enter in the item that we want to look at. So you can see we still don't have any available, but we can see that we have 2 rolls on order and they're still due in. So what we're now going to do is do a goods received note, and we'll see that the quantity available is increased to the linear meterage of the rolls. So we'll add a goods received note. Again, from the stores dashboard, we can simply click the shortcut key on there, or if we're on a different screen, we go through the menu system and go to production, and we go to stock control and goods received GRM. Enter the purchase order number 377. Not going to go into great details about this GRN because that'll be on another training video, but basically we're just going to enter in our delivery note number. We're going to tell the system that all outstanding items were received, so we can see that we had 2 delivered. We then enter the delivery. I'm not going to print any labels, I don't want to go to receive note printing. So now if we go and look at the material stock, we can see now that the outstanding purchase order has disappeared, but now we've got the stock availability and we've got 100 meters available with an audit stock value of 74. So now what we're going to do is issue some of this to a contract. So we just come out of our materials area and we'll issue materials from stock to a contract. We'll scan our employee, then we scan the item code from our production tracking sheet, and then we scan the material we're issuing from stores, which happens to be this edging, and how many linear meters we want of this. So we're going to say we want 25 linear meters. We click issue items to contract. Yes, it's okay to issue. We get our stock issue sheet. I'm not going to print the office copy. Go back to our dashboard. Now let's have a look at our stock holding for that material. And you can see now in our audit here it's saying we've taken 25, we've got 75 available, and it's adjusted our stock value. Now if we want to see what items that has been used against, we can use the view stock movement, and we will then have a listing along here of every single item that has been issued to. So obviously we've only got the one at the moment. It was issued to Barry Jones, by Barry Jones to Andrew Mitchell on that contract for that particular item, and the quantity and the cost. Now we can also have a look at that cost in the item itself. So if we come out of that and then we load up the contract, so contract 2877, if we go to our production status and look for item 2, we double click on it, we can then view the bill item and view the detailed cost allocation, and you'll see here there's the 25 meters that we issued just now with a cost that's booked to the job. We can see who it was booked out to and the quantity, so that is per item. We will also see that in the overall job costing as well. So if I go to the job costing for the whole contract, you'll also see that it's entered in there. So that will keep a record of all the stock items that are issued from your stores to the contract, and how we look at controlling the linear meterage of items. So thank you for taking the time to look at this short video, and hopefully it will have helped you with this area of Contract Controller. If you need more assistance using Contract Controller or would like more information, please do get in touch. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye now.